Hello and welcome to Ewe Sew You. My name's Zoe and this is my channel all about the crafty bits and pieces I get up to. I knit, I sew, I spin on a spindle, I dabble in weaving from time to time, and anything else that takes my crafty fancy. But today we're taking a look at what I've been working on in September, so grab a brew, put your feet up and let's get started. So welcome back to any returning viewers, and to any new viewers a very warm welcome to you. As I mentioned in the opening to the video, we're looking at what I've been working on in September this week. So let's get started with what I am wearing. This is one of my bedrock tees. It's a lovely pattern with multiple views, very versatile, great t-shirt pattern, even though I didn't get the size right on the vest. If you want to know more about that, there's always last month's video. Yeah, I will be making more of these t-shirts. They're great, they're nicely wearable. I can wear them to work, I can wear them casually. So yeah, nice versatile pattern with lots of different views. So that's a winner. For more specific details on my bedrock tees, feel free to check out my Minerva profile because they were part of the Minerva Brand Ambassadors program. So that's what I am wearing. Let's move swiftly on to my finished object. Well, technically there's two. Technically there's two projects. Or two objects, but they're one project. Okay, so if you have been watching my videos for a few weeks, you will have seen me have a go at working with air dry clay. And I made myself a little notions dish, trinket dish, a sort of flower painting pattern. And I made myself a coordinating bowl, which I will be able to use for bumps of fluff when I'm spinning, and yarn when I'm knitting and crocheting, that sort of thing. You would have also seen in that video that I had a little bit of an issue with the varnish, as they call it. I think it's PVA glue. I don't think it's like fancy varnish. But yeah, I didn't varnish the bottoms, but obviously the edge got caught on where I was leaving them, and a little bit has come off on the bottom of the trinket dish, and the whole thing, the whole base coat has come off on the bowl. So they need fixing. I'm going to put a bit more the base coat on the bottom, and I think I will probably seal it in with the so-called varnish once that's dry. So I just haven't got around to doing that yet. I mean, they're functional, so it's not a massive issue. It would just be nice to have that all sealed in so that I know that the rest of the paint isn't going to start peeling off, because that is my concern. And as I mentioned in that video, I am definitely going to be doing some more air dry clay at some point, but I'm going to be looking for better quality paints and varnish and things. I mean, the stuff that was in the kit was fine for a starter kit. It gives you a good sense of how to do it. And yeah, if you're painting all over and varnishing all over, I'm sure it'll be fine. Or if you don't rest your drying pots with varnish and paint on a flat surface, if I'd have raised them up, they probably would have been fine. But there we go, you live and learn. So yeah, so that's my finished object. It's not to say I haven't been doing anything in September, it's just that's the only thing that I've finished. So let's take a look at works in progress. So let's start with what's in my Moulin Rouge project bag. So this is my sock project bag. I've been working on a pair of shorty socks in West Yorkshire Spinners Silent Night, which is one of their Christmas colourways. They should be finished by now. They're only shorty socks. They've been on the needles for ages. But, and this is not a bad but at all, I wanted to do the Tunisian crochet heel that I came across doing Sock Madness a few years ago. So I wanted to give that a try. But the instructions that I had were for top-down socks, and I prefer to knit my socks toe up. So it's taken me a little while to work out how to adapt the Tunisian crochet heel to toe-up socks. I'm not sure that I've adapted it in the most conducive way for actually working it. Once you go onto the flap, I mean, it's fine, it worked, but I'm sure there must be an easier way to do it. Easier in terms of moving fewer stitches around. They might not be, I don't know. I have already tried this sock on. The fit is quite good, and I'll be able to just put ribbing on once I've worked the heel on the other sock. So the second sock, I knit 2 at a time, is here, and it's ready for its heel turn. It's got its gusset increases in. It's ready for its heel turn, and then the Tunisian crochet heel flap, and then I'll rib them off. So in all likelihood, I'll have them finished this weekend. Because now that I've worked it out, they don't actually take that long to do. And I say worked it out in terms of I found a post online that detailed how to work a heel flap and gusset toe up. We did the up to the heel turn from the instructions there, and the first 2 rows of the heel flap. So because the heel turn that's on this particular post, and I'll try and remember to put the link to the website down below. It uses like German short rows to do the heel turn, so you end up with all these double stitches. So rather than trying to work my Tunisian crochet into the double stitches, I worked 2 rows of knit, or 1 row knit, 1 row purl, to close up those double stitches before I started working on the Tunisian crochet flap. The difficulty comes when you're trying to join in the gusset stitches as you're working up the flap, because if you were knitting, you would be doing SSKs and knit 2 togethers, or knit purls together, depending on whether you're doing a garter stitch or a stocking stitch heel. But with Tunisian crochet, you're working on a hook on the flap and the needles for obviously the knit stitches, so you're having to pick up the stitches from the gusset, which is fine on the forward pass. You just hook the needle in to the one on the right hand needle, left hand needle even, hook it onto the hook and work it as normal. On the return pass, it's a little bit more tricky. I ended up having to slip stitches back onto the left needle, slip stitch from the right needle to the left needle, then put the hook back in. So it was a little bit slower than I would have liked it to have been, but I couldn't work out how else to do it. So yeah, so I'll link to the information down below for that. I'll link to the website where I found the instructions for the toe up, heel flap and gusset, because for those of us that like to knit toe up but like the fit of a heel flap and gusset, that's a good bit of information to have. And I will also put the name of the Tunisian crochet heel instructions, or the name of the person who came up with them. It is a Ravelry thing though. I don't know if the instructions are available off of Ravelry anywhere. So yeah, so those socks are nearly done. Nearly. Part of the reason why they're only nearly done and not completely done, other than working out the heel flap and gusset, comes from my next work in progress. So in this bag, which was part of a Christmas present from my dad and my stepmom a few years ago, so not enough yarn, must buy sheep, and my name on the back. This project is a long-standing whip. For a while it was a languishing whip, a hibernating whip, but it has been picked up more recently. So this, I'm going to leave the yarn and the beads that I'm working with in this little organza bag because it helps keep it tidy and helps me not lose things and tangle things. This is Scheherazade. I can't remember the name of the designer off the top of my head, so I will put the name on the screen. Something to do with lily pads, lily ponds. It's a lace shawl. It's not designed in this weight of yarn. I have chosen to do it in gossamer weight. It's a beaded shawl. Obviously, it's all very scrunched up on the needles at the moment. And I started this years ago. Not it's a slow progress project because the yarn is so fine and it's got beads on it and all sorts. As you can see, the teeny tiny beads on there as well. So yeah, started years and years ago, made a bit of progress on it, got as far as the border, and then we moved house. And that sort of put a lot of things on hold, knitting wise. So this didn't get touched for a while, partly because I got out of sync of knitting on it. I was working on it almost every day, like doing a row or 2 at a time, because it takes hours to do a row on this. I stopped counting the stitches when I got to over 500. So it sat around for a couple of years. The move threw me out of sync. Didn't have the time and the space and the headspace to work on it for a few years, and didn't have a deadline for it either until last month, or this month. Yeah, this month. Um, so I picked it up again, and I've done a few rows on it. I'm going to keep working on that. Hopefully, in a few weeks' time, I will have got the border done. And it's probably going to be a couple of months because of the length of time it takes to do the rows, and I don't want to neglect my other existing works in progress, particularly the longer standing ones. I want to try and get some of them done and dealt with. So yes, I'm really looking forward to getting that done. It's really not going to take long to block once it's off the needles because the yarn is so fine. I am working it in a cashmere silk yarn. For some reason, I thought I would need 2 balls of this. Really don't think I am, given that I'm now on the border. But I am glad that I bought 2 at the time because it's that long ago. If I had run out, it'd be hard to find a good match. So this is Heirloom Knitting Gossamer Cashmere Silk. This is 25 grams that I'm holding here. And it's 725 meters or 899 yards per ounce. Grams to ounce, I'm not sure. 70% cashmere, 30% silk. So yeah, so that yardage is the 899 yards per ounce, it specifically says. 25 grams, approximately 725 meters. So yeah, it's super thin. It's like knitting with sewing thread. It's that thin, but it's really soft. It's in this like silvery grey colour. There are other, well, at least when I bought this, there were other colours available. I just chose this one. So yeah, excited to get that project done. It is going to take, as I say, a little while. Every other row is a lace row. Every sort of fourth row, every sort of other lace row is a beaded row. So it's going to take time to get that done. Even though I am on the border, but the end is in sight. So yeah, so that's knitting works in progress. I haven't done any crochet in September. I haven't done any weaving in September either, and I really need to get on with the weaving because I have promised you guys a video making my weaving up into a cushion, so I need to get on with that. So let's talk sewing. I have upstairs ready cut out and ready to sew up my twirls for my bra and my other Mitchell trousers. They've been sitting around for months, not getting touched. Really need to go move on with those. But I have also cut out another Minerva project. I was going to give you a quick sneak peek of this rather than showing it in great detail because it is a Minerva one. So this is a 1/8 of an inch gingham in this lovely blue, and I'm going to be making the Mabel top by Tilly and the buttons out of it. The Mabel pattern comes with a top option and a dress option. I did consider making the dress, but then I realised that I wanted to smock it, and I thought gingham would be really handy for my first smocked garment because it'll help me with the gathering, because I can use for the lines of the grid of the gingham to measure the stitches for gathering it up. The pattern, it calls for shearing, but I've not done shearing before, and the thought of using shearing elastic kind of scares me. Plus, I prefer the look of smocking over shearing in general. So yeah, so that's why I'm smocking that. It's also why I'm doing it in gingham, and it's why I'm doing the top and not the dress. There wouldn't be any more smocking to do if I did the dress. The only change is the peplum on the top gets extended for the dress. But in the UK, for those of you who live elsewhere, gingham dresses are worn by little girls to go to primary school in the summer. So I don't really want a gingham dress, at least not the smaller ginghams, maybe the big, oversized, chunky ginghams, possibly. But yeah, gingham dresses to me, particularly in blue, because of the colours of the school uniforms that I had as a kid, they are school uniforms. So yeah, so that's going to be a top. Very early days for that. The next step is to gather up the sleeve cuffs and the top of the peplum to get the smocking done, and then I can sew it up. So it won't take long to do once I've got the smocking done, but the smocking is obviously going to take a little bit of time. Hoping to get that done this week. As it is a Minerva project, so I do need to get that done. Yeah, that's what I've been working on in September. The reason that there's not been so much getting worked on is actually a really good reason, as in it's a positive reason. There's some things going on outside of my crafty world that's just taking up a bit of headspace at the moment. But it's good things, it's exciting things, and it's things we're looking forward to. So yeah. Plus, obviously, I was away at the beginning of September, so that always limits how much you get done. So yeah, so let's move on to what I am planning moving forward into the next few months. We'll also have a little bit of a look at my Make 9 and see what progress I'm making there. And a little bit of a general sort of waffle around those sorts of things. So next month, obviously, first things first, I need to get my Mabel done. That's got a deadline on it because it's a Minerva project. I've also got on the cutting table, I cut out on the floor. So over there, waiting to be cut out, I have the Riley dungarees. So they're also a Minerva project. They're going to be done in like a dusky pink twill fabric, and should sort of fill the casual jeansy type outfit gap in the wardrobe. I do have jeans. They don't fit me brilliantly, but that's okay. They go on, they cover everything, they stay up, which is important. So yeah, so the dungarees are ready to go once I cut them out. So those are my top two priorities for sewing, is the Mabel and the Riley. Then we also have the Stephen West MCAL. Yes, I'm doing that again this year. I've done the past two, enjoyed the process, quite liked the end results as well. I know not everybody does, but yeah, I enjoyed it. So I'm going to be working on that, and I'm blaming my stepmother because she asked me if I was doing it. I hadn't even thought about it at that point. I don't know if she's doing it, but yeah. So let's have a look at the yarn that I've picked out for the Geo Gradient. So you needed 4 colours. He always gives his yarn requirements for the mystery knits in weight, and you always end up with some left over. I would rather err on the side of having the weight that he says and having leftovers that I can then use in other projects than risking not having enough. So I have bought 100 grams. I probably won't need anywhere near 100 grams of this yarn in particular. I am working with Holstgarn, which is a brand I do like. It's a Danish company. They deliver pretty quickly to the UK. And I'm working with their Coast yarn, which I've not worked with before. This is a 55% wool, 45% cotton mix. So it's lovely and soft. And based on the tides that I used last year, which is wool and silk, should be quite warm, because that shawl is a lot warmer than I anticipated it being, given that it wasn't pure wool. So yeah, so I've gone for a pinkish gradient. So starting with the lightest colour, we have Powder. Then we have Petal. And I'm not entirely sure which order these two are going to go into, because this one, which is Lavender, follows on quite naturally from the previous two in terms of depth of shade, but it's a similar depth of shade to this one, which is Plum. The Plum one, though, is a more sort of pinkier shade. Lavender is obviously on the more sort of purple end, the bluer end of pink. So I'm not sure whether I'll do them that way around or that way around. Either will work, that's the thing. So we'll decide when we get to the first point of use of yarn 3 or yarn 4. So let's pop those back in this project bag. And this is a great project bag, and that was not meant to be a project bag. This is a Fat Face, I think it's a gift bag. My dad and my stepmom bought my other half something from Fat Face for Christmas a few years ago, and it came in this. So that is now one of my knitting project bags, and it's a great size for these big Stephen Westley shawls. I could probably do a sweater in there as well. depending on the yarn. So that's knitting plans for next month. Obviously, I have got my crochet blanket squares that I've been working on for a couple of years in the Game of Crafting yarn that I haven't touched in months, that I really need to get cracking on with as well, but we'll see if we get to that in October, possibly not with the MCAL and the lace shawl going on. But I do have another plan related to the reason why I haven't done much crafting work in September, and it involves these. These are melon ballers, and like carving end on that end. They bought for about £10 in that online mega shopping site that sells everything under the sun. Now I've bought these because I've been watching Closet Historian making silk flowers, and I want to have a go because of stuff that's going on outside of my normal crafting world. So yeah, I want to have a go. You can get proper Japanese style flower making tools. I think somebana is the Japanese term for making silk flowers. Probably not pronouncing that correctly. I don't speak Japanese. And they're like hemisphere and balls and things that you heat and press into the fabric to shape the petal. Obviously with a protective layer underneath to protect your surfaces. But to buy the plug-in ones costs about £120, £130, depending on how many tips you want. It's like having a soldering iron with an attachment on. And to buy the ones that you heat over a flame, you're still looking at £60 to £70. So to have a go and see if I'm going to enjoy it, see if it turns out the way I want it to turn out, I've gone with the melon ballers. The first video that I saw Closet Historian do, she was using a melon baller to make them, and I've sort of, as I've been Googling, I've come across other people who use normal sort of kitchen tools to make their flowers as well. So I thought, rather than making the big investment of minimum of £60 up to sort of £130 plus to get the proper tools, I thought I'd start with that. So I'll be dabbling in that in the next few weeks. And yeah, that's the main plans. So let's talk Make 9. If I can find where I put it, last time I did it, I'll put up a little graphic of my Make 9 plans. And I'm not going to go through them in the order that they'll appear on the screen, but you'll see what I mean when I'm talking about them. So first up, let's talk about the things that I've made a start on or completed. So first up, we have the long sleeve base layer that I was talking about doing. Now, I have done that. That was done very early in the year. I made the Rowan bodysuit, and I like that. It's comfortable. I do need to make some adjustments to where it poppers at the crotch. It tends to unpopper, and I don't think it's got the right width for the space that I have available. So a few tweaks to make on that, but I will be making more Rowan bodysuits at some point, I think, because they are comfy to wear. Again, it's a great pattern. It's really versatile. You can do bodysuits and you can do t-shirts with it. So yes, I'm likely to be making more of those. Possibly some of the long sleeve t-shirts. Possibly some more bodies if I can get the tweaks made to that bit between the legs. Because yeah, they are comfortable. No, I'm just checking to switch my mic back on. They are comfortable and they are very easy to wear, very easy to pair with things. So yeah, I like that one. Next up, for the Make 9s, we're moving into things I've started but haven't finished. Unsurprisingly, my hand-stitched garment is not yet finished because hand stitching does take a bit of time. Plus, I haven't touched it in a couple of months. That won't help. I've started the embroidery, so I need to get the embroidery done and then I can sew it up. I mean, I had wanted it done for summer just gone, but we've still got a few nice days left, but I don't think it's going to be done before we get into the proper autumn winter weather. So it'll be ready for next spring, summer. It's in my stitching basket, which is right down here next to me because it's got the gingham project at the top. So yeah, so that's an ongoing project. I should be able to get it done by the end of the year, as long as I actually pick it up. The next one I think I've already mentioned so far in this video is my bra project. So I have a Lene and a Boylston bra cups cut out, ready to sew up and toile. Again, they've been cut out for ages and I haven't got around to sewing them up. I need to knuckle down and do that. I don't know what my block is with that. They're short seams, it won't take me long. But I also need to do that to work out the fit and work out which size I need to make, which sizes I need to adjust, that kind of thing. Again, I hope I should, if I actually knuckle down and get on with it, get that done by the end of the year. And yeah, that's essentially as far as I've got with my Make 9. I'm not at all surprised, to be honest, because there's been a lot going on this year, so there are a couple of other things that I think I probably will be able to get at least started before the end of the year, if not finished. The first up being the long line cardigan. A little while ago, you'll have seen me dyeing some yarn. I'm going to be dyeing up a larger batch of one of those to make the long line cardigan. So I need to get on with that. I can't start it until I've actually dyed the yarn. Probably going to be using a Hoki Locatelli pattern, which I think she called Longline Cardigan, if I remember rightly, to make that garment with. So, yeah, hopefully in the next couple of weeks I'll get some dyeing done, then get that cast on, and hopefully get that done for the end of the year. Jeans. The ongoing saga of jeans on my Make 9. I don't know what it is about jeans, but they're quite a scary thing to approach making. But this is partly why I picked the Riley dungarees as one of my next sewing projects, because although dungarees don't have the same fit as jeans and they don't have zips to worry about and flies and that kind of thing, there are a lot of other features on the Riley pattern in particular that will cross over into jeans. So it's like a practice run. Plus dungarees will fill that sort of need in my wardrobe. So we've got a halfway house there. Whether I actually get as far as making proper jeans this year, we will see. We do only have 3 months left. Leggings, yeah. Again, they've been on my Make 9 for a couple of years now. Don't know. I don't know if I'll make those. I have bought some jeggings before we went away to the Peak District. I bought some jeggings thinking they would be great for the weather for the beginning of September, and they would have been if we'd have had actual September weather instead of this random extra bit of July. So yeah, so they were a bit warm, but I do have jeggings now, so they sort of fill that need in my wardrobe, and I'm trying my best to just make things, or mostly make things that fill a need, rather than the oh it's pretty, garment wise anyway, so that I have a better curated wardrobe of things that I actually wear. So yeah, may or may not actually end up making the leggings, as I now have jeggings that fit me. We'll see. The next two, I probably, if I'm honest, won't get to this year. I do still want to make them, but they are quite involved projects. So in 3 months, probably not. Might get them started, but it might be put off to another year. One is a corset, which I have no practical purpose for in my wardrobe. But from a developing skills, developing my ability to fit things properly, because that's the main thing with the corset, is getting the fit right. It'll help develop my skills in that way. So it does fill a need in that sense. But in terms of practically being worn in my wardrobe, I don't go to big events at all. So I don't really have a need for a corset as such. It's more of a want. So yeah, so that'll probably get put off. And the other one was my Brunswick inspired coat. I do still want to make a proper winter coat. I do still like the idea of lifting elements from the Brunswick into that, but I would need to find a pattern that is close that I can adapt, or learn to draft a pattern. Both of which is going to require a lot of time and multiple toils. So yeah, that's probably going to be put off to another year as well at this point. I mean, you never know, I might get it started. We'll see. But realistically, given what else I've got going on at the moment, probably not. And the last one, I'm still keeping on the docket for this year. Still planning to get it done. A Christmas cardigan or jumper, hopefully that fits me better than last year's effort. So probably not one that's written in a language that I don't speak. If I can get one that's more sort of winter themed rather than Christmas themed, it'll have a bit more wear out of it. So yeah, I have some ideas of patterns to use. Need to pick the yarn and make a start on it. But that would be probably a November project if I do that. So that's my Make 9 update for you. Some stuff at least started, plans for other stuff. I'm trying to be quite realistic with what I can achieve in the time that's left this year, because as I say, I have got things going on outside of crafting that's taking up a lot of headspace and time. It's all good stuff, and there will be more on that, I expect, at the very least on my Instagram, if nothing else, over the next few months or so. So yeah, exciting times, busy times, but exciting times. So thank you for spending time with me today. I'd love to see you in next week's video, but until then, there's this one on screen that may be of interest to you as well. And until then, happy crafting and bye for now.